they come to the U.S. This can lead to international students having difficulty developing friendships as well as meeting acquaintances. A second reason is due to the different stresses which international students go through. The authors in internationals the authors in International Students Challenges and Adjustment to College found that 41% of international students experience substantial levels of stress, which could come from homesickness, culture shock, or perceived discrimination. As mentioned in the barriers section, international students also carry the expectations of their parents, community, and even culture sometimes, which can lead to a lot of stress. A third reason are the perspectives which international students bring with them. Many international students will bring in new perspectives and ideas into situations. American-born students will also be able to challenge their views on culture when interacting with international students. So, in kind of just developing / researching international students, I decided to interview 3 students. Rodrigo is currently a student at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky, and is studying a master's in divinity. He graduated from Cedarville University with a degree in biblical studies and is from Brazil. Rodrigo came over as a foreign exchange student in high school and has been in the U.S. for over 6 years, with 4 years in undergrad and 2 years in graduate school. Rodrigo explained that he plans to work in a church after he finishes his grad degree. Finn is currently a student at Sterling College, which is located in Sterling, Kansas, and is studying criminal justice with an emphasis in pre-law. Finn is also from Germany, and he mentioned that he had visited the U.S. at least twice a year because his father travels a lot for work. However, this is the first time that he is enrolled in an institution in the U.S. Finn said his future plans include going to flight school. However, if he fails, he would go into law school. Rio is currently a student at Sterling College and is studying business management. Rio is from Canada, and he mentions that although he was born in Canada, he moved to Japan when he was 1 and then came back to Canada when he was 8. Rio also said that this is his 5th year being in the U.S., and he plans to look for jobs in human resources after college because he really does like to have personal relationships with people. Communication and the development of English language were areas which 2 of the 3 students expressed a level of concern. When asked what has been the most academically challenging portion of your immersion experience in the U.S., Rodrigo replied, "The language barrier. You are learning a new word constantly, and there are problems with pronunciation." When asked, have you had any communication problems with your professors, Finn asked, "Sometimes it is hard to find words. However, I don't really have problems answering or asking questions." International students often struggle with communication with professors. Hence, it is important that faculty make sure that they are clear and exact when communicating with international students. However, all 3 students said that their experience in America has helped them communicate efficiently within and among diverse groups. Rio stated how, growing up in Canada, I have already felt like a minority. I am Japanese Canadian. My room in college is very diverse. American, me, and someone from Puerto Rico. Due to this exposure, I feel that I am more open to other cultures than now. It was also very mind-opening to myself to hear from the 3 students how their relationships with their families have changed since coming over to the U.S. to study. Both Rodrigo and Finn mentioned that the relationship with their families has changed due to the distance, with Rio saying, "We are more distant, however, it doesn't feel like it has really changed that much. Rather, it feels a bit more mature." Finn said it has changed because you don't see them anymore, but I try to speak to them once a week. What I observed from talking about family with the 3 students was that leaving their families has helped them in their path toward independence, as they have had to make a lot of more decisions on their own. Finn and Rio are also student athletes, with each expressing how their sports teams have felt almost like a second family to themselves. The importance which these 3 students placed on their academics was very thought-provoking, while having read about the many things which international students deal with while being in America, such as loneliness, new culture, and trying to adjust to American culture. Finn states that I see the importance of academic studies and more importantly than those around me. It seems to me that Americans can be more lazy at times due to the neglect that is placed on academics and studies. Rodrigo and Rio both mentioned the importance of doing well in their academics so that they can advance in the world. My interviews show me that international students place a higher importance on academics due to the fact that international students are sacrificing a lot in order to be able to study in another country. As we look at applying theory when it comes to international students, I feel it is important to bring up a quote which is found on page 270 of our textbook. It says, "Theory on college students' national identity is an area that is likely to grow as higher education around the world becomes increasingly internationalized and globalized." Basically, theory when it comes to international students is a rather interesting topic, as it is a field which is growing due to the international students that have come over into the US and vice versa in order to study. However, I still feel that there are theories for international students which can be looked at. The first said theory, which we'll examine, is Yuri's Bronfenbenner's development ecology. Bronfenbenner came up with the theory to explain how everything in a child and a child's environment affects how a child grows and develops. Ecology models are helpful as they allow an institution to examine how diverse students will develop while on campus, as well as which areas on campus promote the most growth. The four components of this model are process, person, context, and time, with an individual's interactions with each of these models creating the student's development ecology. Process is at the center of the model and includes the interaction with the person and the environment. An international student will interact with many areas when on campus, which can have both a positive as well as adverse effects on their development as students. Person is the next component in development ecology and deals with the traits that each person has which affect the development of the individual. Developmental integrative characteristics influence how individuals experience environments and how environments respond to them. However, a person's characteristics do not always determine how they might develop, but rather they set in motion their development. Hence, it is important to know how someone's traits will affect his or her development. Context is next and deals with how development works. At the center is the person who is encircled by the microsystem, mesosystem, ecosystem, and macrosystem, with each of these levels affecting the growth by the restrictions which are given by the person. Time deals with the individual's life as well as lifespan. Examples of time when it relates to development ecology are looked at from an international student's perspective, or the time during which an international student attends